Yo, it's your girl, sometimes your boy, Charlie, and it ain't much longer. This my name, y'all know that great shit. We're back with another one of them stories that is hard to believe again. Let's go.
Hi, my name is Aurora, and I am
Sup?
22 years old. This is a very awkward story of how I ended up naked in a cafeteria fully packed with students. Just when I start thinking that I would get rid of my list of embarrassing and humiliating things, something new happens and the list keeps growing. Unfortunately, this very day I probably had forgotten that this was my life, where nothing ever goes as planned. Day started out like any normal day. I would go as far as to say that it was going better than usual. I had received my grades, and they were higher than I had expected. My boyfriend had surprised me with a gift hidden in my locker, and I had not seen the face of my biggest enemy, Mila, during the first half. So, all in all, it was better than any other day. But maybe I spoke too soon. Mila was waiting for me in the cafeteria during lunch break. Let me tell you why Mila hates my guts and why the feelings is mutual from my side. She used to date my boyfriend a few months ago, but they had an ugly breakup. When I started dating her ex, she was all over on my business and was always like, "You stole my boyfriend," and "You have no shame," and all that bullcrap. I resorted to ignoring her because one of us had to be the mature one in this hate relationship and avoid causing drama. But apparently, Mila had other options. "Rara," she greeted me with a smile. I couldn't tell if it was fake or genuine. "I heard that you scored really well in your exams," she continued. "Let's forget our past for a moment and celebrate this with a pizza, my treat." Oh, she had just pushed a weak point. I never refused free food, and she knew that. I mean, it's food. Gotta stuff all I can. But she also knew that I couldn't tolerate spicy things, and she purposely ordered the spiciest flavor of pizza. I was coughing and wheezing after just one slice. She patted my back and
Okay, is this just a white people thing? But what's the difference between salty and spicy? Now, spicy to them means a lot of seasoning. Spicy to me means a lot of hot shit. So in this case, I guess she meant spicy as hot. Okay. So that seemed natural. And we almost halfway through. Ain't nothing too out of the ordinary in this story. Because sometimes the bitch be reaching when they be putting these stories together. I don't believe you. You need more people. But this one seemed believable so far.
Just wait a minute. They might
So
read
far,
and offered me a glass of
gonna reach
water.
much.
After drinking the water and taking deep, calming breaths, I left the cafeteria, scolding myself for ever even talking to her. It was during the evening, when I was taking a shower in the gym locker room, that the events began. I had played football earlier that day with some of my friends and was just washing off the dirt and sweat in the locker room shower. But little did I know that someone...
Did this bitch say football and she was kicking a soccer?
Yeah.
We not overseas. Football over here is with pads and mostly men or bitches in lingerie if it's MTV2.
But excuse me. She said the evening.
Yeah. Who play soccer in the evening?
At school.
At school.
This is what she's showering at school.
Okay, after playing soccer.
Just took her ass home.
I'm playing soccer. I hate when people text me in the middle of my videos, but this phone ain't like my other phone that'll show their number, so we gonna rock with it. But this is kind of, bitch. At school, and then they ate pizza in the cafeteria. Okay, so I understand you done play after school, but when in the hell has the cafeteria been unlocked at this time to go in there and eat the pizza?
I thought the... Okay.
Hold on, let's bring this back just to make sure a bitch wasn't lying.
Mila had other options. "Rara," she greeted me with a smile. I couldn't tell if it was fake or genuine. "I heard that you scored really well in your exams," she continued. "Let's forget our past for a moment and celebrate this with a pizza, my treat." Oh, she had just pushed a weak point. I never refused free food, and she knew that.
Hold on.
I mean, it's food.
Number one, this is a fat skinny bitch like myself because she said she can't ignore free food. And two, this bitch said, let's ignore our beef for a moment. Wait a minute, bitch. So you done came for a hoe, and then you want to just calm it down over some pizza, bitch? I like pizza like the next bitch, but what?
But hold on.
Go ahead.
She didn't say she made good grades. Why is she celebrating your good grades?
Cause, see, that's that enemy shit. This that mean girl shit. I wouldn't. There ain't no pizza from this bitch because it probably got poison in it.
First of all, at all.
I was like, what was it? Okay, but I gotta watch you eat the pizza first, bitch. Like this is training day. Smoke the crack first, bitch. Smoke it first. Remember in training day, y'all?
Gotta stuff all I can. But she also knew that I couldn't tolerate spicy things, and she purposely ordered the spiciest flavor of pizza.
You deserved
I was
it.
coughing and wheezing after just one.
How your enemy know you that well? Like what the fuck? Has she been spying on you? Investigating on you and shit? What the fuck is wrong with her? She tickleation the wrong burn. I don't get it, bitch. No thank you. Bye, girl.
Slice. She patted my back in feigned sympathy and offered me a glass of water. After drinking the water and taking deep, calming breaths, I left the cafeteria.
Water? How the hell she got water? You know you supposed to get beer or pizza. When you got pizza, you supposed to get beer or soda. What is with the water? This seems fishy. And she's serving mad enemy right now. I'm seeing mad enemy all over this. And baby girl Pigtails is just not hitting. I don't know. She not serving today.
Scolding myself for ever even talking to her. It was during the evening, when I was taking a shower in the gym locker room, that the events began. I had played football earlier that day with some of my friends and was just washing off the dirt and sweat in the locker room shower. But little did I know that someone was waiting for that exact opportunity to strike. I heard some noises coming from the locker room while I was showering. This truly unnerved me, because no one was supposed to be there, as the class hours had been over long ago. I turned off the shower so that I could make out the noise clearly, but the next thing I knew, the towel which was hanging on the shower door...
How ain't nobody supposed to be there, but you was playing football? Okay, so you was playing by yourself, bitch?
No. They were playing football earlier. Now this is in the evening, and we gonna
So
take
what
a shower.
the hell was she staying after school that late for?
But ain't nobody else supposed to be there. But she's there.
Did it go reaching again on the bitch?
Pulled from the other side. It disappeared right in front of my eyes. I let out a horrified scream and covered myself with my hands, asking who was there. Expected, there was no reply. I heard the sound of receding footsteps, and then a door slammed shut. I was scared out of my wits. I didn't have a single cloth upon me and didn't know what to do. After composing myself for a few minutes, I opened...
Did y'all see that scene right there? She was supposed to be bleeped because it was nipples, but we didn't see nothing. She just got no nothing. She ain't got no nipples. She ain't got no belly button. She don't even got no hair. This is getting weird.
Shower door and took a peek outside. There was no one inside. I got out and quickly walked to my locker, only to find out that it was completely
She ain't
empty.
got no nipples.
My clothes, phone, wallet, and keys, everything had been stolen. Great, isn't it, to be stuck in your college campus naked? I didn't have to think twice to know who had done this horrible thing. It was Mila, of course. I wondered what I had done this time. Scored good grades? In her messed up brain, it probably was, Aurora stole my good grades. I wanted to scream and cry and laugh at my miserable situation. I would never do such a thing, even to my worst enemy. I got out of the locker room in hopes of finding...
Okay, that's a damn lie. The devil is a lie because damn well I'll do that to my enemy. And two, where your man at, boo-boo? How you just all out there like that? You just all out there like that? That don't even sound right, girl.
something to cover myself with. Heck, even a rag would work. But just my great luck, I couldn't find anything. To make matters worse, I was feeling dizzy and sleepy all of a sudden. I was literally fighting back sleep and tears after a point.
Hold on. See, I told you the bitch doesn't pause in the peps. She doesn't pause in the peps. See, that's why you should have got what you got, bitch. Because you don't need... What was her name again? Aurora? Girl, bye.
After wandering for some time, I reached the cafeteria. I couldn't fight the dizziness anymore. It felt like I would faint if I didn't close my eyes and sleep. I laid down on a couch attached to the wall in the cafeteria and instantly sleeping.
Scare me. How you go from sleeping to fainting? to fainting to sleeping. And then she just gonna randomly close her eyes and lay on down.
How you gonna go being naked and not worrying about it?
Because they reach in again.
Engulfed me. That time, I didn't know that the reason for suddenly feeling sleepy was the water that Mila had offered me earlier. Indeed, I went to the doctor afterwards as I got really concerned with this health episode of mine. They found relatively high levels of melatonin in my blood, a hormone that makes you fall asleep almost...
What was it? Where the fuck did she get this from? And how did she just decide to do this today? And how did she... But... The fuck?
Man, she really did plan everything out. I woke up not to the usual warmth and light of my bedroom, but to screams and insults. Yes, you're guessing it right if you are thinking that I had woken up...
Excuse me again. So they went forward and flashed back in less than 20 seconds. Excuse me?
Think about this. If she's in the cafeteria, there's some aprons or something in there.
Fuck that. She ain't supposed to be in there because it be locked. Number one. And number two, where the hell does she go lay down that butt-ass nigga titties just swinging?
This is supposed to be college.
Okay, but still.
Right. Cafeteria's supposed to be closed. How the hell you get in the cafeteria?
And then where did she go? She wouldn't lay down in the dorms or something?
But
she didn't go lay down in her goddamn room?
But no, because she would have had to run across the campus naked.
Okay.
But they still have aprons in there.
Yeah, but hey, she probably can't get in a closet. That's how this story gonna go watch. It's been dumb.
The cafeteria full of students. I don't have words to describe how I felt at that moment when thousands of eyes were on my naked body, each one judging me, criticizing me, and I don't even know. I can't describe it. It was like my worst nightmare coming true. Someone from the crowd took pity on me and covered me with a coat. I clutched the coat tightly around myself and ran out of there with my tears. But that was not the end of my humiliation.
Why they look like that?
Next day, I received an anonymous Facebook message with loads of my naked photos and a threat. They were asking me to meet them in an abandoned construction site, or else my pictures will be leaked for everyone to see. Why?
This don't make no goddamn sense again.
Everybody
everybody sees you naked. And now all of a sudden they're going to release it. Well, you know what? I'll be like Bella Thorne and just release it before them. And another reason this bullshit...
She didn't have them. Oh, yeah, right there.
Right. And then another reason what it could have been was that it know bullshit. It was Facebook. It wasn't Instagram. It's Instagram. This is 2020. Nobody even be on Facebook like that. They don't even be over there. They don't make no damn sense.
What is happening to me? Was the whole cafeteria ordeal not enough to last me a lifetime? I don't know what to do anymore. Should I even bother going to this meeting place and save the last bit of my reputation?
Oh, Lord, I hate these damn
stories. What if it's dangerous and
don't ask me, bitch. Don't ask me. Next story.
Hey, I'm Gabrielle, and I want to tell you about a mysterious baby I found on my doorstep.
Hold on, wait.
Okay,
I was
so
brought
I
to
never
this
wanted to
room
get
with
married and have babies. I mean,
three
kids
moms
are a
and two.
nightmare, right? You become a mom and your life's over.
Excuse me. Don't you hate when niggas don't go down the numbers right? It's supposed to be 2 or 3. Not no 3 or 2. You know they retarded already. And then they just start, I hate these damn stories. Don't make me guess. Bitch, I don't want to guess. I want to know. You just told me this is the end of the story. I want to know. The fuck?
We're partying and having fun. It's all diapers and bottles. All that changed one night. I'd been out clubbing, so I didn't get home until late. I tripped over something on my doorstep.
Wait. Why she walk like that?
And I thought someone had left a basket of kittens for me. But then I looked closer, and I realized someone had put a baby on my...
Excuse me. Who leaves a bag of kittens for any goddamn body in 2020? Shit, haven't you heard of adoptapet.com or something? This don't even sound right. And did it go, or did it go, eh? There's a different sound. Stupid bitches.
Doorstep. I took it into my apartment and found a note tucked into the Moses basket. It said, "This is your baby. You got me pregnant and I can't afford to look after her, so she's your responsibility now. Her name is Heather. Please."
Excuse me. How this drop... Ain't that supposed to be the daddy? It ain't supposed to be the mama. What the fuck? This your baby. So the mama don't know where the daddy is, the baby daddy. So then she just gonna drop it at this random bitch's house. Don't believe you need more people. Go ahead.
Love her as much as I do. What? Clearly, there'd been a mistake. I'd bought my apartment recently, so the baby must have been meant for the guy who lived here before me. Well, I wasn't going to keep her, obviously. I called the cops and they said they'd come with someone from CPS to take the baby. But while I waited for them to arrive, I was cuddling Heather, and she was so cute. She had a tiny little button nose and adorable big blue eyes. She was beautiful. The cops showed up with a lady from CPS. I asked what they are going to do with Heather, and they said she'd probably go into foster care and then be adopted. But if no one wanted her, she'd probably spend her life in foster homes. I couldn't let that happen. She had a mom who loved her, even if she couldn't care for her. What if she changed her mind? She'd never get her daughter back. So I did something crazy. I asked if I could keep her. Of course, it wasn't easy. I had to have interviews and assessments to make sure I'd be a good parent. It was a lot of stress, but I had a good job with plenty of savings, and at last, Heather came home to live with me. Once Heather was mine, I wondered whether I'd done the right thing. It's hard work looking after a baby, and when your baby cries all night, it's hard to do a good job the next day. I was head of marketing at a fashion label, so I was seriously regretting adopting Heather. But then I hired Charlene, my neighbor, as a live-in nanny. She saved my life. She moved in with us right away. She was the one who got up in the middle of the night to give Heather a bottle so I could sleep. Charlene was awesome. She looked after Heather while I was at work, took her to all the mommy and me classes, and made sure my baby got plenty of cuddles when I wasn't there. I looked after Heather at the weekend so Charlene could have a break, but most of the time she would insist on hanging out with us. Things were great for a while, but when Heather started school, I told Charlene we didn't need her anymore. She started crying, and she didn't want to leave. She said we were like family. We agreed Charlene could stay on as my housekeeper. She cleaned while Heather was at school. Then she looked after her until I came home from work. Heather loved that Charlene was still living with us. She called her my second mommy. But not long after Heather's 10th birthday, I lost my job when the company I was working for went bust. Nobody wanted to hire me. So high level and experienced, it was hard to find the same kind of job. When I applied for lower positions, everyone said I was overqualified. I had enough money saved up to pay my bills for a few months, but if I didn't find another job soon, we were going to be in trouble. It absolutely broke my heart. But I had to let Charlene go. She begged me not to sack her. She said she'd work for nothing as long as she...
Okay, so basically, this is the girl telling the story about how she had 2 or 3 moms. But then in the beginning of the story, it shows the mom, so you think they're talking about the mom. This is confusing, and I'm already not liking this. But let's go ahead.
She'd stay with us. It made me really uncomfortable, to be honest. She threw herself on her knees, tugging at my clothes and screaming she couldn't leave us. I grabbed her bag, and as I was handing it to her, it fell on the floor. To my shock, pictures of my daughter fell out of her bag. I quickly grabbed the pictures, and I couldn't believe it. She had literally taken pictures of my daughter every day. I was angry, and I wanted her out of my house quickly, so I called the cops. But then she was gone. I didn't tell Heather about the big scene with Charlene. I couldn't upset her. She loved her nanny so much. So when I told her she wasn't going to live with us anymore, she burst into tears. She asked if...
Okay, let me put my investigating bitch hat on. Okay, now what's on, y'all? That's her mama. Because number one, she using a camera from the 90s because she got printed out Polaroids. And we don't do that. You wouldn't have seen the phone because you just look through the phone and say, In my portraits, I got a picture of this little bitch every day. But she got a bag of shakeable Polaroids, y'all. Shakeable ones.
But she been taking care of...
She could meet up with Charlene, but I said no. Mother yelled at me that I was a terrible mom, and Charlene was a better mom than I could ever be. Then she stomped off to her room, slamming the door behind her. A couple months later, I was still looking for work, but no one wanted to hire me, so I decided to set up my own marketing agency. To save money, I worked from home. which meant I could spend more time with Heather. But Heather didn't want to hang out. She was still mad at me for sending Charlene away. So whenever I asked her if she wanted to go to the movies or the mall, she said no. Until one day, Heather told me she'd join a choir at school, so she was going to be home late some nights because she needed to practice. She said one of the other moms was going to bring her back. I was just happy Heather was doing something that got her out of her room.
Choir.
So I told her she could be in the choir as long as she kept her cell with her and always told me where she was. Heather agreed, and for the first time in ages, she gave me a big hug. She had such a happy smile on her face. Heather didn't know was I installed one of those apps on her phone that let you know where the cell was at all times. The first time she said she was at choir practice, her cell was at school the whole afternoon. But the next time she was supposed to be at choir, her cell left school and went downtown. I raced out of my apartment and got in a cab to find where my daughter had gone. She was in a diner with Charlene.
Oh, Charlene.
Stormed in and grabbed Heather. "Why are you here? When you're supposed to be at choir," I said. Charlene was really apologetic. She said it was her fault, but she missed Heather so much she had to see her. I told her to stay away from my daughter or I'll get her arrested. I told Heather she had to quit choir, but she cried. So I said she could still be in it, but had to come straight home afterwards. Couldn't trust her not to sneak off and see Charlene again. A couple weeks later, I decided to surprise Heather after school by picking her up and taking her for a manicure. But as I got closer to the school, I saw Charlene waiting by the gates. I went up to her and asked what she was doing. She looked embarrassed and said she just happened to be in the neighborhood. I didn't believe her. She lived on the other side of town. Then Heather came out of school. She saw me talking to Charlene. She went bright red. It was obvious they'd arranged to meet up. That was it. I got a restraining order out on Charlene. She was too obsessed with my daughter. I thought that would be the end of it. But my nightmare was just beginning. Heather got really...
She dumb as hell. That's her mama. Her mama. The mother of her loins. That's her mother God. It is her. What? I know this. I ain't even heard your story, but 6 minutes, and I know. So you've been doing this all these years, and you don't know that that's her mama? Jesus.
Rest after I made Charlene leave us alone. She spent all her time locked in her room and only came out for meals. She wouldn't talk to me, even when I offered to take her shopping for new clothes. So when I called her for dinner one night and she didn't answer, I thought she was sulking in her room. "That's enough, young lady. This rudeness ends now," I said as I went into her room, but it was empty. I looked all over our apartment, but I couldn't find her anywhere. My daughter was missing. I called the cops. At first, they told me she was just being a teenager and not to worry, but when I told them about the restraining order I had against Charlene, they sent someone round straight away. I was so worried. Anything could happen to my baby. What was Charlene's deal? Why was she so obsessed with my daughter? It wasn't normal for a nanny to act like this. The police told me to stay in my apartment while they looked for Heather, but I hated sitting around doing nothing. I had to do something. So I went on social media and shared pictures of Heather and Charlene, asking people to contact me if they'd seen them. And then I got a PM from a woman who lived a couple 100 miles away. She said she was sure she'd seen them staying in the same motel she was in. I forwarded my message to the cops and got straight into my car. I broke every speed limit going, but I didn't care. I had to save my daughter. When I got to the motel, there were cops everywhere. I raced over to them, but they wouldn't let me through. "What's wrong?" I yelled. "Let me get my daughter!" That's when they told me Charlene had a gun, and she was threatening to hurt Heather if they didn't leave them alone. I screamed and tried to fight my way through the cops to talk to Charlene, but they were too strong. "Heather!" I cried out for my daughter, hoping she could hear me and know how much I loved her. Suddenly, there was a gunshot. My heart skipped a beat.
Hell no.
My daughter dead? "Mom!" I heard Heather calling for me.
Lord.
I ran towards the sound of her voice as she came running up.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Them commercials. Hurry up. Another commercial. Damn it. Fuck.
Out of the motel
Okay.
room. This time, the police let me through, and we fell into each other's arms, sobbing. She said Charlene had fired a warning shot, but the police had tasered her before anyone could get hurt. Not long after, They brought Charlene out in handcuffs. "Why?" I asked. "Because Heather's my daughter," said Charlene.
Told you.
She told me when she saw me, she knew I'd be a good person to look after her baby. I had a job and a stable life, and while she was an alcohol addict,
She was
she
behind
knew
the
that
tree. Look at you
childcare would
looking
take the
behind
baby
the
away
tree.
from
I
her,
seen
so
you.
she decided to raise her in the house next door. She also watched me and Heather from my house window 24/7 until she heard I was looking for a nanny. She realized this was her chance to stay close to her daughter. She then started laughing hysterically. It was really creepy. "Why would you threaten to hurt your daughter, then, if you love her so much?" I screamed. She was quiet for a moment before she said, "I can't have her. No one else should."
Murderer.
That's when the police took her away. Heather and I were traumatized by what happened, but we're having therapy together, and it's really helping. Charlene got sent to a mental institute. She's still there, but if she ever gets out, there's no way I'm letting her anywhere near my daughter. I hope you enjoyed my story. Like, comment, and share if you want more videos.
Okay, that's kind of believable because I've seen that happen before. But we be back later.